Americans and future Americans, people of all 7 swing nations, soon to be Americans, welcome to the full interview that President Trump did after his first 100 days with ABC News. Now, ABC News is a propaganda network that masquerades as a news platform. They make believe they say facts in order to introduce people to life and reality and things, but in reality, I don't think that's true at all. I think that ABC News is a front to masquerade as this gigantic conspiracy pumping ground, propagandizing people into believing in actual random garbage and bullshit. So, today, Donald Trump actually had the balls, and I say this with a whole heart, he had the balls to do a 40-minute long interview with ABC News. The mainstream media that's been slandering him for like 10 years. He actually did a sit-down, hardcore interview with, I cannot believe this happened. So anyway, lock in, boys and girls. We're going to see what it's all about. Apparently he cooks them a little bit. Apparently they try to cook him. Everyone's losing their mind about some MS-13 guy that was deported. This is truly a tragedy. I truly feel for all terrorists equally. And that feeling is, fuck you. That's my feeling. If you support terrorists, honestly, fuck you too. You probably suck as a guy, as a person. You probably are committing suicidal empathy. You might not even know that you suck that badly. But anyway, let's see what we got.
This is an ABC News special.
Yeah, everyone is talking about this. Everyone and their mother is talking about this.
From inside the White House.
When you stepped back in the Oval Office after you were reelected,
Right.
what went through your mind? Triumphant when you walked back?
Yeah, there's a feeling of triumph.
President Donald J. Trump on his 100th day in office.
I cannot believe he did this sit down with this guy. I mean, Biden didn't. To be fair, Biden was literally walking around put together with spit and duct tape. That dude did not carry himself around. All right, they got necromancers to bring him to work every morning.
From the #1 issue, the economy.
All right.
People are worried. Even some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. So how do you answer those concerns?
Well, they did say.
Dude, this is gonna be a hardball question. They're even pulling out the random Netflix drama background music for this one.
Sign up for it, actually.
To immigration.
It is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline.
True.
But there are questions about your methods.
To Elon.
I love these people so much. Oh God, they put the clown makeup on themselves. He's gonna destroy them.
Musk.
Did Doge go too far, too fast?
Oh my God! What are we even talking? Every single one of these questions is just, it's, oh my God, this is gonna be incredible.
Too reckless.
And the concerns from many Americans about the impact of tariffs.
Everything's going to be just fine.
President Trump, the first 100 days, the interview in
I
the
bet you they took that out of context.
Oval Office with ABC News anchor and senior national correspondent, Terry Moran.
All right, Terry.
Earlier today, I sat down with President Trump in the Oval Office.
All the arrested posters in the background. Oh, that's putting my taxpayer money to good use, goddammit.
For an exclusive interview on his 100th day of his second term. It was a great opportunity to ask him some wide-ranging questions about the issues that most concern so many Americans. We talked about the economy.
Good.
Those tariffs.
Good.
We talked about immigration and those deportations.
Good.
And you can see here the White House has put up some posters that they say show some of the violent criminals that have so far been deported.
Base.
We talked about a lot more as well. The president's answers were provocative, at times combative.
The president was provocative, guys. No! That's terrible. He's supposed to be a wet paper napkin. That's who was running the country for the last 4 years. I was expecting that.
And always, he was strong in his convictions about his policies. But before we get to the interview, we begin tonight with a look inside the Oval Office that Donald Trump has transformed.
Are you kidding me? They made a whole documentary for this
How are
one.
you? This is the Oval Office.
I love how they say how Donald Trump has transformed it. Like every single president ever doesn't change things in the Oval Office and pick the desk they want and shit like that.
This is the Resolute desk, which is really something very spectacular. There's nothing quite like it. And they give you a choice of about 7 different desks, but this is the one I chose. Ronald Reagan had it. FDR had it. A few people had it, but I found it to be the most beautiful.
All right.
It is amazing.
This is an amazing space, and amazing maybe architecturally
Mahogany.
wonderful, but amazing for what it represents. It represents the U.S., and if properly used, a lot of good things can happen.
If properly used, what the fuck are you gonna do with the desk? If properly used, throws the desk at an illegal immigrant.
I see Ronald Reagan over there.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan.
Right to your left.
Being in the Oval Office is very important. See Ronald Reagan here, and put him a little bit larger. It sort of seemed to fit very nicely. You have Democrats a little bit. You have
A little
Franklin
bit.
Roosevelt.
Franklin Roosevelt. So you look at that
Remember when the good old days,
picture, and people say, well, what's he doing up there? But look, he was a serious president, whether we like it or not. He was a four-termer, and
No way, Trump just whipped that out. Why would you have him up there? He's a Democrat. Well, he was around for 4 terms. Wink, 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 wink. Buy Trump 2028 merch today, ladies and gentlemen.
the war.
Oh, no.
You have Lincoln, you have Washington,
Based.
but you look over here, that's
Based.
Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine.
Why is he up there?
I think the Monroe Doctrine was pretty important. You know, that was his claim to fame. Over here, you have the original of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, and of course, you have the Declaration of Independence.
Based.
What does it mean to you?
Well, it means exactly what it says. It's a declaration. It's a declaration of unity and love and respect.
All right.
And it means.
I love that he just has the Gulf of America sign just sitting there in the background. This is crazy, man. All right, this interview is going to be a bloodbath. Like, you could tell this dude's, like, he's coddling up to him a little bit, but, dude, it's going to be fire. This is one of Trump's #1 haters, and he had the balls to sit down with him. Like, literally the most transparent president. This dude debates every day.
Means a lot, and it's something very special to our country.
Lincoln's portrait up there. I'm not familiar with that one, but I think when I'm looking at that famous line in the second inaugural, with malice toward none, with
Right,
charity toward
right.
all. Is that-
Well, he was a great president. He went through a lot.
And the Oval Office has always changed.
Remember the Democrats? Good old days, huh? When the Democrats were, gay and retarded, even more retarded than today. Remember when the Democrats were mad about slavery? Well, they're even more angry now.
Between presidents, and that
changes,
says
yeah,
something.
it does.
What does this say about how you feel about the country and the office?
Well, I think it says I love the country. I mean, I'm putting pictures of presidents up that have never been up, pictures that weren't largely used.
Damn.
And in many cases, you know, great men, in this case men, but great men of great achievement.
And your every detail,
There's a little picture of Biden, like as a dartboard across the room.
it seems.
Yeah.
This is your office.
I'm a very detailed person. I'm a very clean person. I like cleanliness. I like to see the space be treated properly. I've added a lot to the space in terms of beautification, in terms of modernization. That's a
Gallery of presidents.
It really is. It really is. So, and it's an honor to have you people.
I think having portraits of presidents and paintings of presidents in the Oval Office is like a completely respectable thing.
with us.
Like, it's a question mark if you have no pictures of presidents in the Oval Office, to be honest. Like, these are people you should be, you know, emulating, trying to learn from and stuff like that.
Mr. President, thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Here in the Oval Office, it's special. 100 days into your
I like to make my office look like Albus Dumbledore's.
second term. So, what's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in
All
this
right.
100 days?
Dude, I wonder what Biden would answer if you asked him, like, what he did significant in his 4 years of presidency. Well, I told Russia they could invade Ukraine.
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because our country was really going bad.
He's right.
They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it.
Prisons, mental asylums.
institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murders, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person. So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday, they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But
true.
We're doing other things that are very significant.
It's weird how I never see the media talking about that unless it's literally Trump, stuffing it into other people's questions. It's crazy.
Significant. Results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years and years. They laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people, and
they were right.
We're fixing it, and I think that's going to be very, very important. But
all right,
we have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that
Yo! I have a lot of ground to cover. Shut the fuck up, President. We don't really want to hear what you think you did right. We want to make fun of you for other things, Mr. President. With all due respect.
Water is so important, just can't.
And we'll get there. Immigration, huge, and we're going to get there. But I want to start with the economy, the number one issue for so many people, for just about everybody. It's one of the main reasons that you're back in this office. And now we have this trade war with China that Moody's and other analysts say is going to cost American families thousands of more dollars per year. And there is a lot of concern out there. People are worried. Even some people who voted for you saying...
I love the fake empathy. The fake empathy drives me insane. I really wish people would act like real people and not need to hide behind American families suffering. Right in my heart every time.
I didn't sign up for this, so...
Even your own voters. Dying of hunger. All of them. Every single one. Can't believe this is happening to your people.
How do you answer those concerns?
Well, they did sign up for it, actually, and this is...
He's so right. Zero shits given. He is not gonna let the fucking emotional blackmail happen. Oh my God. They did sign up for it. He literally ran his campaign on tariffs, on not letting America be the world's piggy bank. He ran on tariffs. People voted for him knowing he was running on tariffs. If they didn't understand that, that's a them problem. That's a skill issue. Get educated, nerds. But realistically, every single president before they became president said they needed to do this and equalize with China and the rest of the world, and no one had the balls to do it. No one did.
This is what I campaigned on. I said that we've been abused by other countries at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We were losing $3 to $5 billion a day on trade. We were losing $1.5 trillion to $2 trillion a year. Not sustainable. They were taking advantage of us like they've never. I could have left it that way, and at some point there would have been an implosion like nobody's ever seen. But I said, no, we have to fix it. I've wanted to do this for many years. I had the best economy during my first term. We had a tremendous economy, tremendous success. And we did tremendous numbers of tariffs we took in a lot of money from tariffs, China in particular, hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. We had no inflation, as you know. We had an incredible economy. We're given credit for a great economy. But I said, we have to fix this, otherwise it's just not self-sustaining.
One of the things
And it's getting worse and worse. Because as time passed, every other country felt like they could keep pushing America even further. And every single one of those countries felt like, you know what? I absolutely could abuse our relationship with the United States. More tariffs and more bans of American cars or American banks every single time.
Ran on was you'd said you'd bring prices down on day one, and that it would happen fast, and that it would.
I mean, he did
happen fast. And
He did.
Most economists will tell you that tariffs will raise prices.
Oh my God, this is so unbelievably, disgustingly disingenuous. You've got to be kidding me. He said you were gonna drop prices, and now tariffs are gonna be raising prices. Wildly disingenuous statement. A, he ran on tariffs, literally, and B, he ran on lowering prices, literally, by releasing the drill baby drill policies and shit like that and unlocking the power of America. Gas prices are down across the country. This is a fact. Anyone that has a car knows this to be true. Another thing everyone knows to be true is that egg prices are down. Remember when Trump went into office, everyone was complaining about eggs? Now egg prices are down tremendously by like 80% or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is wildly disingenuous. Tariffs making prices go up in the short term, and also prices of other goods going down because A, he's not doing a chicken holocaust like Biden did, and B, he's actually creating energy, unlike Biden. Realistically, he is lowering prices, and yes, tariffs are going to increase the prices of shit in the short term. That was literally what they've always said.
So don't your tariffs cut against that promise you made to bring prices down?
These are both true facts.
No, because I had massive tariffs on China, if you remember, in my first term, and we had essentially no inflation, like around 1% inflation, which is like a perfect number. And then when Biden took over, it went through the roof. It went to probably the worst inflation we've ever had. I mean, we had an inflation nightmare. Now, if you look at what's happening now, we're only there for 100 days, as you say. And in 100 days, we took over. We had bad inflation for 4 years, for 2 years of, especially 2 years of his administration.
Not wrong.
I would say record-setting like we've never seen. They say 48 years, the worst in 48 years. I say it was much worse than that.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Biden fucked up the country, and now we're gonna blame you for it. Yeah, that's true. Good point, Mr. President.
So now, if you look at what's happened, energy is down.
True.
Gasoline hit $1.98 in a few.
What? No, I don't think it did. Wait. No, it didn't.
Few states.
What? No, it did not. What are we doing? Hold on. Mr. President, gas prices are down a lot, but they're not that far down. No way. I think he means $2.95. I saw a gas station in Florida. Gas was $2.87. All right? Which is, by the way, insanely down. It was like $4. But just this week I saw $2.87, and that's absolutely insane. That's a massive W, but nah, dude. It's true? Well, wait, what? No.
During the last couple of.
Is there some way to, like, check this?
Gasoline hit $1.98 in a few.
Oh, he means the pre-market price? Fair. Gas where I live is $2.01 a gallon. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, look, realistically, gas is tremendously down. I'm not going to know the prices of gas in every single state in America. However, realistically, this is just another one of those problems that the news, for whatever reason, didn't notice when Biden was president, but now that Trump is president, everyone's talking about it. Realistically, the prices are down tremendously, and that's a fact.
Few states during the last couple of days, it was $3.50 and $4 and $4.50.
He's right. He's right. It went from like $4.50 down to, well, from what I've seen, so between $2.50 and $3. I've never seen it go down to like $1.85 or whatever. But realistically, that is a massive drop-off, and that's true.
But gasoline is way down. When I took over, you remember the big thing with eggs. They hit me the first week. Eggs, like it was my fault. I said, I didn't cause this problem. This problem was caused by Biden. What's the problem with eggs? And they said, they've doubled. And well,
yeah, well, it turns out if Biden does a chicken holocaust and murders 150 million chickens because of some nebulous disease that might have existed, yeah, it's going to increase the price of eggs. The fact that the media went after Orange Man for that is insane.
Eggs are down 87% since I got involved.
A lot of that is
and
bird
by the way,
flu,
and there were
right?
plenty of eggs for Easter, which we just went through. There were.
I love how ABC journalist guy is like, a lot of that was the bird flu. It wasn't Biden's fault. So then why were you blaming Trump? All right, literally. Like, come at this from whatever perspective you want. If it was bird flu, then why was the media down Trump's throat for his first week in office saying that he made the price of eggs go up or some bullshit like that? And if it's not bird flu, then it's literally all Biden. Unbelievable levels of brain rot here on ABC.
Plenty of eggs for Easter. They were saying you won't have enough eggs for Easter. My secretary did a fantastic job on eggs. Groceries are down. Everything's down.
Okay.
Interest rates are the same. Interest rates should be down, but we have a Federal Reserve that wants to be stubborn. They want to be cute.
We'll get to that.
All right, Mr. President, zip it up. Stop glazing yourself. All right, we have to talk about things that people are upset at you for now.
You said something a couple weeks ago that struck me. You said concerning the tariffs, which economists say are going to raise prices.
It's so disingenuous. Yes, it's gonna raise prices. True, economists say that. They're all correct. We pay the tariffs. That's how tariffs work. If tariffs go up in value, then imports are more expensive, so people are gonna be buying shit for more. That is true. However, it is also bringing unbelievable amounts of wealth to the United States. That's why you have these multi-billion-dollar companies opening up plants in America right now. It is generating probably over the next 4 years, my guess is it'll generate over 100,000 jobs, as an example. Realistically, China opened a car manufacturing plant in Mexico to sell cars to America. Why did they do that? Well, they did it because they had tariffs on America. America didn't have tariffs on them. They were able to get cheap labor in Mexico and move in the cars for free without any form of tariffs to sell it to Americans, because America is the biggest consumer country in the world. If now, under the tariff situation, they ain't gonna be opening no car plants in Mexico to sell cars to America. They're gonna be opening car plants in America, pouring billions of dollars into the country and giving Americans hundreds of thousands of jobs. Realistically, that's the point of tariffs. So saying, Trump, you're tariffing people, it's just making everything expensive. It's like, it's really disingenuous when you say something like that without the much broader perspective of what tariffs are supposed to do. It just kind of gives me the impression that Mr. ABC News guy, Mr. Terry over here, Scary Terry, he just kind of wants the people to see bad Trump raising prices.
Said, quote, hang tough. It won't be easy. You said that to the American people. Is that?
Yes, it's because the other countries were taking advantage of America for a long time. There is gonna be a growth pain. Yes, it's like surgery to remove a cancer, all right? The surgery sucks, man. They're cutting you open. But the point of the surgery is removing a cancer, which in the long run is a really good thing.
How would Americans should expect some hard times?
I've said that during my campaign. Look, we won a campaign by a lot. We won all 7 swing states. We won the
all 7 swing states. Cryo Trump, popular vote campaign. It worked. We did it. All 7 of them.
Popular vote by a lot. We had a tremendous campaign. I said all of these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period. We've been ripped off by every country all over the world. They're laughing at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we were.
He's right.
I said, that's not going to happen. We're not going to let that happen.
Hard times are ahead?
I don't think so.
How do you possibly take the statement he just said and then be like, so hard times are ahead is what you're saying now, Mr. President. Allow me to put my incredibly affluent words into your mouth. So you're saying hard times ahead? What are we gonna do with the media, guys? You don't hate the media enough, literally. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the wildest thing is, look, here's a clip. I don't even know why we need to do this because it's so obvious. Here's Obunga. All right, this is, what was this, 2012-ish?
When it comes to the international system of commerce and trade, it's legitimate for poorer countries to continue to seek access to wealthier markets. And by the way, wealthier markets, that's not the big problem that you're having. A small African country is sending you tea and flowers. That's not your biggest economic challenge. It's also proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity.
Reciprocity? You mean reciprocal tariffs? Oh my God!
From nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries.
No, what?
To make sure that they're providing access to their markets.
Wow! So is this President Obunga arguing for reciprocal tariffs? The media was all for that. He didn't have the balls to do it, obviously. He said it, but he knew that there was going to be a growth pain period. He knew that it would make it harder in the short term, so he didn't have the balls to actually do it.
Taking intellectual property and hacking our servers.
Oh, got him. All right, what about other very well-beloved Democratic candidates? What about everyone loves him? Everyone loves Bernie Sanders. He's up against the oligarchy every single day. The oligarchy.
I believe in trade.
Oh.
But I believe in fair trade, not unfettered free trade.
All right.
I do not believe that we should be shutting down factories in America and having corporations run to desperate countries where people are paid $1 or $2 an hour. Right. I don't believe in that.
So you want jobs in America?
The function of trade is not just to make large corporations wealthier.
Tariffs?
When tariffs are necessary, absolutely.
Oh, so tariffs, absolutely. Love to see that. Well, the good thing is Bernie Sanders was really consistent. So this was 2019. He was so consistent, in fact, this is him saying the same exact shit in 2008.
Further, what they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street, people who are making 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, healthcare, pensions, throw them out on the street because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good paying jobs in America as we shut down plants, we move to China, corporations there, pay workers 20, 30 cents an hour, and we bring the product back into this country.
So what are we going to
do? And anyone who goes shopping in a mall knows how difficult it is today to find the product made in America. But that is the philosophy. And I have to say in that regard, the champion, and he is honest on this one. Senator McCain has been criticized recently for not being the most honest candidate we have seen in terms of his ads and so forth. He has been honest on this one. He is the lead advocate of unfettered free trade. And that's an also important part of this right-wing ideology, that it is good for America that corporations can go to China and bring products back into this country.
Right. So free trade. So in other words, reciprocal tariffs. Realistically, this is Bernie Sanders in 2008 supporting the idea of tariffs. This is Bernie Sanders in 2019 supporting tariffs. Now Bernie Sanders is against tariffs because the Orange Man did it. Do you see the levels of retard that we're dealing with on the daily basis?
I think great times are ahead. Look, since I came in, gasoline is down, groceries are down, egg prices are down, many things are down, just about everything. You know, you don't have the drop in fuel and energy and oil like we did. I took it from maybe $3.20, maybe more than that, down into a much lower number. When you have that kind of a drop, you're not going to have inflation.
Not now, but it's the tariffs, right? We still have
He's such a bitch. All right, Mr. President, let's talk about the economy. He's like, well, things are down. Mr. President, we're not talking about that. We're talking about how tariffs are going to make it harder for people. All right, dude. Okay.
145% tariffs on China. Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're trying to say something's going to happen, Terry.
No. Okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business.
Terry,
I want to ask you.
I do know business.
Yes. So 145% tariffs on China,
Yeah.
and that's good. Basically
That's
an
good.
embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on
They
everything
deserve
from
it.
electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know that. You don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but at 145, they basically can't do much business with the United States. And they were making from us $1 trillion a year.
I love how ridiculous it is. Like, imagine looking at this in such a pigeonholed mindset. Like, and the irony is, people fall for it. Hassan was laughing at me for saying basic economic truths on his stream. He was laughing. Oh, I can't believe this idiot knows nothing. Like, this is just incredibly basic economy shit. And no one seems to realize that they're retarded.
We're ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad. If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
I want you to think about the boom that this country has had in small businesses, mom and pop Etsy stores, small businesses that became big businesses.
They haven't had a boom because of inflation.
Well,
the boom was
inflationary
boom. The people were wiped out with inflation. I mean, you read the news, you do the business stuff, I assume.
Now, a lot of them built those businesses on the trading model.
Yeah, and they're going to make more money
They
now.
sourced their products overseas, and now they're looking at an extinction event.
I've been here.
It's a disaster for them.
I've been here for 3 months. I've taken a trade deficit down to a number that's very, very starting to get really good. I just got here.
Yeah.
We had a country that it was not sustainable.
He's
what
right.
Biden did to this country between the open borders.
I saw so many people upset at him for mentioning Biden, like that Biden kept fucking the country. But like, what do you do when the man's correct? Like, why should he not bring it up when he's just right? He's just telling the truth. I don't think people realize how dire of a position the country was in. For some reason, the Biden government, instead of doing literally anything to help, you know, the economy, they did everything in their power to campaign 100% on wokeness so the rich people could keep getting richer. Like, dude, what are we even talking about?
Criminals poured into our country, between every country in the world ripping us off on trade. It was not sustainable.
So your message to those small businesses...
Man, don't even get me started on the COVID policies closing businesses. Like, this is crazy.
...who are saying, we can't live a month, 2 months with these tariffs. Apple got a big deal. Is there something for them?
No, not only Apple. We've got
You've got to be kidding me. You have massive billion-dollar companies pouring crazy amount of money into the United States right now because they don't want to deal with the tariffs. Like, what are you saying? How do you read this as terrible for the economy? The businesses must get, you know, benefits. Are you serious? What about the Democratic politicians that were getting benefits from USAID funding terrorists?
$8 trillion being invested in our country in 2 months. Biden didn't have that over a year. I mean, if you look at Biden, nobody was really investing in this country. Everybody was ripping off our country. Apple's putting up $500 billion, but that's only one of many companies. Companies are flooding into our country right now.
So your answer to the concern about the tariffs is everything's going to be hunky-dory?
Everything's going to be just fine. It wouldn't have been if I didn't do this. I had a choice. I could leave it, have a nice, easy time, but I think ultimately you would have had an implosion. Our country...
I mean, he's right. This is the kind of thing that everyone knew that they were just kicking the ball down the road. Every single person knew that you keep pushing that shit down the road a little more and a little more until eventually it's a disaster and a nightmare. He did the surgery to remove the cancer. That was every country using America as literally their piggy banks. They want the implosion. I don't know if they want the implosion or if they want the short-term gains just for themselves. Everyone kicks the ball down the road 30 more years at a time. But realistically, this had to happen. Unfortunately, we were in a position that it had to happen, but it did have to happen. For the sake of, you know, the country that your children are going to live in.
Had inflation that was worse than they've ever had it before. You don't mention that. Why don't you mention that? We had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. People say 48 years. Probably in the history of our country, we had the worst inflation. And people were dying over the inflation. You know that. Now the grocery prices are coming down. The energy prices are coming down. Gasoline's coming down. It's all heading in the right direction.
Okay, let's move on to immigration.
Coming up.
You have got to be kidding me! What was that? Donald Trump, do you think everyone is saying that the tariffs are going to be terrible for our country? And he's like, terrible for our country. A, it needed to happen. B, prices are down. Whoa, 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 whoa. We have to move on to the next topic, Mr. President.
It is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods.
Bro, why are we getting...
President Trump.
Why are we getting ads for this shit in the middle of the program? Come on, man.
First 100
Get your act together, mainstream media. You guys suck.
days continues.
Yeah, by the way, what a fantastic moment to announce that now I am officially living in America. I am an American citizen. I'm living in America. And as that happens, suspiciously enough, YouTube put the join button on my channel. So you can support me by becoming a member to my channel by clicking the join button right next to the subscribe button. And support your boy making fun of retards, because YouTube doesn't like monetizing videos sometimes, and it's very appreciated. Also, I like making fun of retards. Support me in my passions, please. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to immigration. And as you said, it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods. And so I want to ask...
About my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
They seem to work.
My methods may be unpredictable. Oh, fuck.
Do you acknowledge that...
Why couldn't he agree that they work? Come on, man.
Under our law, every single person who gets deported gets a hearing first to make their case?
Well, are we...
Oh, he's gonna cook him. He is gonna cook him! He's gonna obliterate him. You do realize that currently Trump activated the Alien Enemies Act, right? You know that that's a thing?
Talking about people that are citizens of our country or not?
No, you're not deporting citizens at this point.
Well, let me ask you, did they get here?
How dare you put "at this point" in the sentence? Literal fear-mongering.
Hearings when Biden allowed 21 million, because I think the number's 20 million people to flow into our country. You had 21 million people that came into our country through a stupid open border, and they were prisoners, and they were
mental
people
institutions
that you don't want in many cases in our country, right?
Murderers.
They came from all over the world. They came from
prisons.
the Congo. They came from South. They came from all over the world. We're talking about some of the roughest countries in the world. They had here, including terrorists, by the way. Now,
but
did we give them a hearing when they came in?
Well, the law requires that every single person...
It's weird that he's not answering that question. No, they didn't have a hearing when they came in. They're here illegally. All right, that's what he probably meant to say if he wasn't cucked.
Who is going to be deported gets a hearing first.
Good point. We should give 21 million illegal immigrants that invaded the country. Let's give them all hearings. This will absolutely work. Anyway, voter ID is racist. Definitely over the next 4 years, all these 21 million illegal people in the country that are all going to be able to vote without voter ID are not going to steal the country. Incredible point, sir.
Well,
you acknowledge that?
I'll have to ask the lawyers about that. All I can say is this. If you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law is...
God fucking damn! He's hitting him with nothing but pure and based logic.
The law, sir.
But the law, sir. Oh, I hate that we need to follow laws, Mr. President, but we do. We do, Pookie. We do need to follow laws, Mr. President. Except for Biden when he opened the border and let millions of illegal immigrants in. He was gay and retarded, so whatever.
Law's the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything.
The law's the law, Mr. President. It's all the activist judges that are fucking hiding terrorists in their basements. They're just fighting up against the fascist regime. They're following their own laws. They are the law.
Trials?
No, not trials. Hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in. They're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally. We have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't. Sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in.
Millions of Maryland men enter the country, bro.
They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process.
I hate the way he talks. Am I the only one? Like, am I the only one that hates the way he talks? Like, the unbelievable condescension and fake empathy is just so frustrating.
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out.
God.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelans.
They get
Oh, my God. Listen, they get a process. If we find out they're illegal, we kick them out. Listen, that's the process. Oh, fuck.
whatever my lawyers say.
Right. All right, let's talk about the Venezuelans. You deported more than 200 Venezuelans to that prison in El Salvador. You say they're violent, they're gang members, they're terrorists.
What do you mean you say? What do you mean you say they're violent? They are. This has been confirmed by judges, by the way.
Many of them don't have a criminal record at all.
God, I'm so happy he pushed back on that.
I'm not so sure about that. If you take a look,
I want to read you something.
Excuse me. When you look at those people, they were violent people. They were violent people.
But many of them don't have a criminal record
Go
at this
ahead.
point.
They're in the country illegally. They're criminals. So why are we doing this? ABC, a big cuck news network. Like, what is happening?
I want to read you something. Oh, it's based on their lawyer, what their lawyers have said. Okay.
Oh, their lawyer said that they're innocent. Well, color me a retard. Obviously, we should trust the lawyer. Right. The lawyer of the guy clearly said that his client is innocent. Case is closed.
Joe Rogan said this. Joe Rogan, one of the leading podcasters, Trump supporter, about the deportation of Venezuelans. He said, quote, rounding up gang members and shipping them to El Salvador with no due process, he said it was dangerous, and added, quote, we got to be careful that we don't become monsters while we're fighting monsters. Is Joe Rogan right?
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, we want to be careful, and we are careful. We're doing something that has to be done. We have a country that's very sick. Joe Biden, and it's not him because I don't even think he knew what the hell was happening, but the people around him are vicious people, and what they've done to the country is unbelievable.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie? I mean, I love how everyone has a Joe Rogan clip to say out of context, but you see, Mr. President, this is why I put forth the notion that we should take all the illegal immigrants, after due process, of course. We should take all the illegal immigrants and all the pedophiles and put them in a giant arena together and have them have like a Hunger Games type tournament. We'll call it Aliens versus Predators. Everyone will love it. Broadcast it live, televise it, for a fee. All right, you can put it on fucking Hulu. All right, you can do that. All right, think about it, man. I think Mr. Beast could organize it.
They've allowed 21 million people to pour into our country. Many of these people are criminals. They've allowed you mentioned Venezuela, the jails of Venezuela to be emptied into the United States. Do you know Venezuela crime is way down? Way, way down. You know why? Because their criminals are now living happily in the United States of America, and we're
not happily anymore.
Getting them out. And I was elected to get them out, and we're getting them out.
Under the law.
And we're getting them out fast, and we're getting them out legally. Now, in some cases, we have judges. In some cases, they're radical left judges. What happened the other day where a judge was protecting a criminal was horrible. And I think she's got big problems, frankly. And there are a couple of them like that.
I want to talk about one man.
How can you interrupt everything, man? You ask a question, the question is poisoned, so just the people hearing the question take it as fact. He has to respond to the question, and then halfway through his response, they just stop him because these demonic judges that are hiding people, he doesn't want people to know that Democratic judges are fucking hiding terrorists under their floorboards.
Yeah, we have to be treated fairly by judges, and we're not being treated fairly by all judges.
Oh, that's a subject. So you're saying that you don't like some of the rulings, some of the court orders?
I think the rulings
oh my God.
will be overturned, yeah.
Right, well, let me ask you about one man and one court order. Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
The Maryland man! Oh my God, here we go.
He's the Salvadoran man who crossed into this country illegally.
Oh, they actually called him a Salvadoran man. Hell yeah, dude.
But who is under a protective order that he not be sent back to El Salvador.
It was a mistake! What do you want? They admitted it was a mistake. They deported thousands of people. He is A, illegal in the country. B, multiple judges confirmed he needed to get deported. C, they accidentally put him in El Salvador, but he's a terrorist from El Salvador, so they're keeping him. Also, the situation vastly changed in El Salvador since the court order, which was 5 years ago. Like, there are so many points to this case. Bro, Captain Salvador. Bro, Latinx George Floyd over here. Like, what are we talking about?
Government sent him back to El Salvador and acknowledged in court that was a mistake. And now the Supreme Court has upheld an order that you must return him to facilitate his return to
Thank you. I'm glad he added that.
the United States.
Facilitate his return means if El Salvador wants to release their terrorist to the United States has to let that happen, and then the United States has to deport him somewhere else. Like, what are we talking about?
What are you doing to comply?
Well, the lawyer...
What do you mean comply? He is complying. This is just up to El Salvador.
The lawyer that said it was a mistake was here a long time, was not appointed by us, should not have said that, and just so you understand, the person that you're talking about, you know, you're making this person sound, this is a MS-13 gang member,
True.
A tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay? This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the...
What is going on, man? What are we gonna do? Oh, God.
The rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands, sir.
Came into our country illegally.
You could get him back. There's a phone on this desk.
I could.
Okay, first of all, I don't know if he could get him back. Realistically, I think it's very likely he can't get him back because realistically, incredibly hot take, not trying to be controversial here, he is a terrorist from El Salvador in a prison in El Salvador. I'm not saying he's a good guy, but we have to literally break the El Salvador laws to protect him. We need to send in SEAL Team 6 to break him out of the El Salvador prison that he belongs in to bring him back to the United States so we can deport him again because there are already 2 judge orders to deport the guy. What are we talking about? Listen, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but I am saying he's a fantastic Biden voter. Well, come on, dude.
You could pick it up, and with all the power of the presidency, you could call up the president of El Salvador and say, send him back right now.
And if he were the gentleman that you say he is, I would do that.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
Facilitate means let it happen. Bukele, the prime minister of El Salvador, is not going to do that. Because he's an MS-13 member.
One making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No.
I love how the president has unlimited power when it's something that ABC News wants him to do. But if he does literally anything else, then ABC News, I can't believe that he's doing something against a judge. A judge said bad and he's doing it anyway. Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what's happening? Like, everyone's crying when Trump says that I actually am the president and I have the authority to do something. But they're all like, but the buck stops here, Mr. President. Also, dude's a terrorist. Stop.
Follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem.
I feel like he can answer this question even better and just, realistically say that they're not going to release him anyway.
It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, a great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my number 1 issue, but it was pretty close.
Right, I would say it was his number 1 issue, actually. But anyway.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are
oh my God, this is what everyone's freaking out about.
Interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Interpreted that way? Really? His tattoos had like a smiley... dude, it had the marijuana leaf for M, the smiley face for S. Like, what are we talking about? It is not just vaguely interpreted.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
Oh my God,
that was
dude.
Photoshop. So let me
That was Photoshop. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree.
Oh,
I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop.
I feel like they're arguing about different things, to be honest. I'm sure that every person and their mother came together to have an opinion on this. My opinion is they're talking about different things. Here, let me see if I can find it. MS-13 tattoo. Yeah. So everyone's like, I can't believe Trump is so stupid. So my guess is Trump is referring to like these, right? Which can be interpreted as MS-13, marijuana, smile, and then the 1-3 over here. That's from my perspective. And I think what Terry was talking about were these like letters that were obviously written in later to show you the interpretation of the gang signs. So I think they're kind of arguing it about different things. However, it doesn't matter because you got retards like Hamas Piker. See if I can find this guy. Hassan Abi. right? Don't worry, guys, because we got retards like this guy with possibly the worst take of all time. If I can find it. Bro. Dude, hold on. I have to find this tweet. He made such a bad tweet. Well, turns out I can't find the tweet. Maybe deleted it. Oh well, anyway. I found it! Wait, so Trump actually believes the shitty MS Paint markers added are actual real tattoos? Does he also think he tattooed marijuana, smile, cross, and skull on his fingers? What? What? Those are... There. What are you talking about? This is a severe cognitive issue. Says the guy who supported Biden. Like, what do we even do, man? Oh, God. Anyway.
But go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir. I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be.
Oh, stop.
This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on
Oh
his knuckles.
my God.
All right.
Okay?
All right, we'll take a look at that.
You do
We'll take
such
a
a
look.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, go on to something else.
Ukraine.
That's crazy. Oh my God, the crash out. That's insane. Like, dude, I don't know, man. It is wild. I don't even know why they need to debate over these things. Like, that is such an open and shut case. When that dude became your hero, you are so cooked.
I want to turn, I was just in Rome, and to that moving photograph of you and President Zelensky
God, I hate the fake nice. I hate the fake empathy. It's so annoying.
sitting in St. Peter's Basilica talking peace. It went around the world.
Sure.
It went around the world. Or other news, it was posted on Twitter. It was so moving, the way you talked to Zelensky.
Take us into that moment.
Well, look, the Ukraine is a very serious, very tough situation. And this is Biden's war. This is not...
By the way, shout out. Apparently the mineral deal was actually signed. Art of the deal, baby.
Not my war, but I want to see if I can solve it, because...
Never would have happened if I was president.
Probably close to 5,000 young soldiers a week are being killed, Russian and Ukrainian. We also spend a tremendous amount of money in Ukraine, and Europe should be spending much more than us. They're not. They're spending much less. It's been badly handled by the Biden administration. It's been badly handled all the way around, the way around.
That moment.
The moment was a moment of solace, in a sense, because tremendous numbers of people are dying. A lot of his people are dying. They're being killed. And I feel very badly about it. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president. And it didn't happen for...
Told you, man. Every time, bro.
4 years. It was never even a thought of it happening.
It does feel like something's happening after that meeting with Zelensky in St. Peter's. You posted this on social media. There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas and cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe...
Well, that was part of my post, but you're right. That was a part of a post.
And it says it makes...
Oh my God, Trump knows what he posts? Damn, Biden would never.
Makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along.
Yeah, that's possible. Sure.
He might be...
He could be tapping me along a little bit. I would say that he would like to stop the war. I think that if it weren't for me, I think he'd want to take over the whole country, personally. I always felt. So...
Ukraine was the apple of Putin's eye. Always was. He always wanted it. Which he's right about. Yeah, that's gonna happen if, the war doesn't stop.
When I left, there wasn't even a chance that this would happen.
Never would have happened if I was president.
When Biden got involved, I won't say whether or not he handled it properly, but obviously it wasn't good because...
I won't say whether he did a good job or didn't, but it was terrible, really awful, just so bad. That might be the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Yes. Anyway, let me just remind you of a Biden situation.
Held accountable if it invades, and it depends on Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion, and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, etc.
Yeah, so this is Biden saying that it's okay if Russia does a minor incursion into Ukraine. Yeah, I would argue that he did a very bad job stopping this war, to be honest.
The war started. Putin went in, the war started. I believe that Putin wanted to get all of Ukraine once he went in. And I think part of the reason he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan, how incompetently Milley and all these guys handled that. It was one of the greatest embarrassments of our lifetimes, but maybe in the history of our country. Okay, so Putin went in. I think Putin wanted all of Ukraine.
Right.
It was the apple of his eye.
I think if I didn't win the election, he would have gotten all of Ukraine. I think he would have taken all of Ukraine. I think his first choice, never with me, he would have never gone in.
Never would have happened if I was president.
With this group of losers, he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan. He said, wow, this is my chance. Because it was always the apple of his eye.
Yo! I knew he was going to say that. Let's go!
Talk to him. Ukraine was the apple of his eye.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The whole country.
You see, if I was president, I would have actually been awake when that happened. The horrible situation in the Middle East. It wouldn't have happened if I was president.
You said for months.
Iran was out of money.
Because of me, I do believe that he's willing to stop the fighting. Don't forget.
You think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think
Still.
he does. I think because
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't.
Based answer. I hate you to have any. If he would have said yes, that would have gotten spun incredibly. If that would have said no, then Putin might not want to make a deal with him. Wow.
I trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am
And
happy.
then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me
What the hell's a fake question?
that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know.
all right.
I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
Let me
No,
just
I am
tell
not.
you.
No, Mr. President, not true.
Do I trust? I don't trust a lot of people, but I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me, and I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine. Okay. It's a war that never should have happened.
Never would have happened if I was president.
It did happen because of incompetent people.
Last question on this.
But it never should have happened.
If there's no peace deal, will the U.S. cut off military aid to Ukraine?
I don't want to tell
Obviously, you can't answer these questions.
you that. I'm not going to tell you whether or not I would or not. I want to leave that as a big fat secret because I don't want to ruin a negotiation. But
I'd be worried
I
if
will
I
tell
were
you, I
Ukrainian.
was not happy when I saw Putin shooting missiles into a few towns and cities. And that was not something that I liked seeing. And I thought it was inappropriate. But I think the whole war...
Yeah, very inappropriate. Yeah, shooting missiles into cities. Yeah, that's fucked up. I'm with you. Good point. You're right. He's spitting. Yeah, true.
...is inappropriate.
Okay.
Again, it's a war that shouldn't have happened. This war...
I love how, Russia shoots missiles into cities and the left media is like, send more money to Ukraine, Then Hamas, a terrorist organization, shoots missiles into cities and everyone's like, oh, the poor Hamas fighters. They're just freedom fighters. Am I right, guys?
is a war that if the election weren't rigged, and it was totally rigged, the 2020 election, if it weren't rigged, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have had the embarrassment of Afghanistan. You wouldn't have
October 7th.
October 7th.
I knew it. I saw it happening.
With Israel.
Yeah, dude.
Israel, you wouldn't have had any of the problems that you have right now.
I want to ask one
and
question.
You wouldn't have had inflation either.
All right. I want to ask one question about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. There's a lot of turmoil at the Pentagon right now.
Bro, they hate Pete Hegseth. They hate him. And I really feel like they just hate him because he loves America. And that's kind of not really leftist values these days, it seems.
A signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young, he's smart, highly educated. And I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in
I don't
Pete
have
Hegseth.
100% confidence in anything. Okay?
Dude, he's
anything.
so beige
Do I have
for that.
100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
It's a pretty important
I
position.
have, no. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
Let's go.
God damn. All right, anyway.
Too far, too fast, too recklessly.
Yeah, anyway, speaking of Pete Hegseth, a lot of the reasons why a lot of people do not like him, yikes, and a lot of people don't like him, I think because of his tattoos. His tattoos are really, really pissing off everyone. So, I think he has... all right, so he has Yeshua over here in Hebrew. That's Jesus in Hebrew. He has a big cross. He has this, which is Arabic for a non-believer, obviously in Islam. Like, dude, a lot of people, he is pissing off everyone. He is pissing off everyone with his tattoos. So, yeah, anyway, obviously the left does not like this man.
President Trump, the first 100 days continues.
Elon Musk and Doge. Everyone knows that there's wasteful government spending. It's really important. But the cuts have had some serious consequences. There have been cuts to foreign aid programs that save lives and keep people alive overseas.
Oh my God, dude, the fake empathy again. But Mr. President, I know you're cutting billions of dollars going to lesbian tap dance theory and surprise butt sex in Somalia. But, poor people are probably suffering or something.
There's been research at the National Institutes of Health on cancer, on Alzheimer's, that has
Transgender surgery for mice.
had to be stopped. And the question I think people have is, did Doge go too far, too fast, too recklessly?
No, I think Doge has been, saved $150 billion.
Keep slashing, slash more. If you slash too much, put it back. But in the meantime, slash. That's how companies work, and that's how the government needs to work.
We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There are some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be because we have things
Well, they're not, first of all, they're not done yet. All right. Second of all, who knows?
At a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any of
Well,
these.
you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been
How do you
referrals
know
to the,
that?
are there
Why-
criminal
how-
Oh,
referrals?
yeah, answer the question. Don't answer the question. Come on, bro.
I know that there were no referrals. I think there were referrals.
They generally, all right, there's been no investigation from the
How do
Justice
you know
Department.
that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking.
No, he's saying it.
You made a statement. You're not.
Sheesh.
Now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have
Now I'm
been.
asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the
Of
work
course
of
there have
Doge.
been. Take a look at some of these
All right,
things that
all
took
right,
place.
all right.
Billions of dollars we give it to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course there have
I
been.
want to bring up what is
I love how he just changes the topic instantly changing the topic.
Truly to a lot of people, one of the biggest achievements of your first term, that is Operation Warp Speed. You got that COVID vaccine up and going and distributed, and a lot of people took it, and a lot of people feel their lives have been saved by it. Now we have this measles outbreak, biggest in a decade in Texas, and it's because people aren't getting their children vaccinated. Do you recommend to parents that they get their children vaccinated for measles?
Well, I recommend the governors to make the decisions. You have a very talented governor of Texas.
All right.
And he's making decisions, and those decisions are going to be made rapidly. This is a very much different thing than COVID in terms of rapidity and speed and other things. Measles have been with us a long time, and I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying that the governors are making the decision. It's a federalist decision.
The president is our leader in so many ways.
Oh my God, the fake glaze, the sleazy fake glaze. You've got to be stopping with this. Trying to divide his people with vaccines by asking him questions that are not one-word answers. Like the fake glaze saying that he's someone that everyone looks up to when ABC News fucking slanders him on a daily basis, at least from my perspective.
And your voice counts so much, and you.
Oh my God, your voice counts so much, which is why we criticize you and don't ever play your clips unless they're the ones we're taking out of context. We'll talk about how you wore a blue suit to the Pope's funeral, but we're not going to talk about anything remotely good you've done. Oh, come on, dude.
Can't tell moms and dads. It's a good thing to get a measles vaccine.
Do I recommend it?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I recommend it, yeah.
Got it. That
do
was
I
my
mandate
question.
it? No.
No.
Based. Incredibly based. I think it absolutely. Measles vaccines specifically. They did the research into measles vaccines. There are other side effects to everything, obviously. But as far as I'm aware, there aren't any actual links from measles vaccines to autism or anything like that. So I would also recommend getting the measles vaccine. However, I also don't think it shouldn't be mandated. Like, dude, that's crazy.
No, I didn't.
But I do recommend it, yes.
Good. Do you think you're...
And I have recommended it.
Do you think the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has a history of, at the very least, vaccine skepticism, do you think Kennedy recommends the measles vaccine?
He did.
He does! He literally does! This guy is such a fucking fraud, it's crazy.
He did. He recommended it. Yeah.
Oh my, he really thought he got him on this one. He really think he got him on this one. He was like, but what about you? I'm going to make a divide between Trump and RFK.
He's satisfied with his
he
response on this?
recommended that they go out and get the vaccine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, dude.
Continues.
I want to talk a little bit about presidential power, the powers that you have in the presidency temporarily that the American people have given you, right?
Temporarily? Well, that's up to them. Cryo Trump every 4 years.
You've revoked a lot of people's security clearances. You've revoked people's security details who are
makes sense.
Still threatened, with death threats.
I get death threats. I don't have a security detail. All right, dude. Dude. I love how he phrases his questions to make it sound like Trump is just putting random people's lives at risk.
You've gone after law firms because they've employed people you don't like, or...
It's not... And also, the don't like thinking is insane. It is so frustrating when they don't do that. When they do this. It's like, I can't believe he's jailing people that don't like Israel. No, he's jailing people that support terrorists. That's not the same thing. And he's deporting people that aren't citizens that support the downfall of Western civilization. Not the same thing.
They have represented people
Well,
you
they
don't
obviously
like.
agreed because they paid me a lot of money.
Well, the reason they agreed is because
Damn.
you were threatening to destroy their business with your executive order that said you can't represent clients for the federal government. That's their bread and
big
butter.
boys. These are the biggest, most powerful lawyers. These are not
You
people
got a lot of
that are
leverage as
easily
president.
intimidated.
As president, you got all the cards.
They paid hundreds of millions of dollars because they felt, I guess, they probably felt they did something wrong.
It was for survival, sir.
No, it isn't.
You're
No,
crushing their business.
Oh
These
my
firms-
God, dude. This is insane. This is actual rewriting of history.
Are very powerful firms, and there's 15 of them, And these are firms that probably, look, you have to ask them. In fact, this is a separate search.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but ABC actually stands for Always Be Lying.
You have to ask them, why did you all pay Trump hundreds of millions of dollars in services, etc.? Why did you do that? I don't know.
You don't think that
we have a clause in the thing that while we admit no wrongdoing, but you know, it's like one of those things. And now I'm friendly with those firms, but it's, you know, these are the most powerful firms in the world. And they just signed whatever I put in front of them. I've never seen anything like it. I'm actually surprised myself in a certain way. But they obviously felt they probably did something wrong. I guess that's why they signed.
I guess the question out of that is the concern that people have. Are you using your powers as president to get personal revenge?
No, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, then why is Hillary not in jail? All right, well, like, what does that mean?
Tell you
what are we doing, man?
You're really not asking, and you should be asking. There has never been a president in this country, in the history, that was persecuted like I was persecuted.
He's right. He might have been one of the most legally persecuted political figures in history, if not the most. Like, it's crazy to see this.
Really crooked people, dishonest, horrible people, and it's been proven. So when you say I'm treating people rough, I'm not treating people rough. I was treated worse than any president in the history of our country.
Yeah, the craziest thing is I can't think of any examples of Trump just straight up going after his political opponents. Trump's lawyers got arrested. His lawyers got arrested. Like, how insane is that? And besides, Biden pardoned everyone he's ever met in his lifetime, or whoever had control of Biden's auto pen did that. Like, you know.
And, you know, people figured, well, maybe that's it. Finally, we got, you know, he's leaving town. There goes the helicopter. And then I came back. And I came back because I have tremendous support. You know, when you win an election like I won it, and you will admit I won all seven
swing states, popular vote.
States. I won the popular vote. I won 2,750 districts compared to 500 districts. That's why the map is all red. And those people feel that I was treated unfairly.
But does that give you the right to go after your political opponents? With the power?
But he's not doing that. What are we even talking about? What is going on? Oh, Lord. Did anyone ever complain that Biden was going after his political opponents when they were literally going after Trump? I don't remember anyone complaining about this.
I'm going after, all I'm doing, hey.
He's going after crooks. Or at least that's the plan.
Biden did something to me, and I did something to Biden. And you know why I did it? Because he's grossly incompetent. That's not a man that should be allowed to, you know, be looking at things that are very confidential.
But what him removing Biden's security clearance is considered... What are we talking about? Him removing the security clearance of Biden is not going after political opponents. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, actual retarded argument.
Because he's in 71 here's a man that used an auto pen to sign very important documents. Now, who really is... Do you think he knew that they were using an auto pen? I mean, he used an auto pen to sign very, very important documents. And so those are really the questions you should be asking. What do you think of the auto pen? Who wielded the auto pen? Because whoever that person...
He who owns the auto pen owns the country.
...was, think of it, whoever the person that wielded the auto pen, he was really the president of the United States. Because I don't think that...
Oh my God!
Biden knew anything about it.
Fair enough. But you are the president now, and I'm asking the justification for going after people you don't like.
What is he doing here? He is making false statements literally to just convince whoever's watching this to believe it. That's why, by the way, the like-dislike ratio on this interview is absolutely fucked. Like, this is crazy.
No. People that I think are dishonest. It's not that I don't...
It's not nothing personal. They're just frauds and scum. I don't know, man. It's like, listen, if I don't like a guy that committed treason, should I not arrest him because I also don't like him?
They're people that I think
These people made you angry.
What are you, his therapist? What is going on?
It's not anger. these are people that I think are very dishonest. I don't think they're worthy of being able to go into top secret information. I think that's fine. And Biden did that with many of our people. But when you look at it, these are people that I don't think are worthy. That's my decision. It's not a question of anger.
Okay. I understand you just had a phone call with a new Canadian
I love how okay.
premier, and they just had this election.
Yeah.
You were big
They them just elected somebody. Hell yeah, dude.
issue in it, and Canadians, many of them, are really angry, furious about your talk
Yeah,
about.
if you want to see my insight on the Canadian situation, you can watch my Canada is 1,000% fucked video.
We're going to take over Canada. It's going to become the 51st
Let's
state.
take her.
And it kind of is of a piece. A lot of travel is down into the United States from around the world. It
We're doing
feels
great.
like there's been reputational
The
damage.
country's doing great.
Well,
Prices are down.
not the tourism.
Gasoline's down. Energy's down. Tourism is going to be way up. Wait till you see the numbers. The tourism is way up.
Not now.
Now, Canada,
Oh my god, there's no tourists from Canada. I can't believe you've killed the country. Are you kidding me? Like, come on, dude. Priorities. America's not a tourism economy. Obviously, it does contribute. I'm not gonna lie. Of course it does. Obviously, like every country. But, like, what are you even talking about?
tourism's doing very well. We're doing very well. We're doing very well. Wait till you see the real numbers come out in 6 months from now. Wait till you see the numbers.
But do you
They're gonna
think,
be
I'm going to
very
ask you,
good.
if I may, do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your...
Why does he do these questions? It's like, okay, so the country is better for everyone in the country, but the reputation is down because China's unhappy. All right, and fuck them. America's job is not making China happy. It's about making Americans happy.
presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk...
I never knew America as a more humiliated country than when Biden was president, to be honest. To be honest. Like, I've traveled, I've gone to different places. I don't know anyone who respected America when Biden was president. I'll be real, not trying to be rude, but that's crazy.
Across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
Oh, fuck, he killed him. Oh, Lord.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you for the opinion, but more importantly, thank you for having us here. I have one more question. It's a big one. It's a question that you know a lot of people have out there. What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we...
This dude spent the entire fucking interview telling Trump, but you're the president, you have so much power. Why don't you call fucking Bukele in El Salvador and get the Maryland man terrorists back in the country? You have so much power, Mr. President. Why don't you just tell people to get the measles vaccine? But Mr. President, you have so much power. And then the final question, Mr. President, you have so much power. Everyone's scared. You're an authoritarian now.
We haven't had before.
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was laughed at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you, Terry, very much.
Once again, we want to thank President Trump for inviting us to the White House 100 days into his second term.
Damn,
I'm Terry.
he got like the arch nemesis of fucking interviewers. I've asked all these questions with these Botoxed lips, and my opinions are that Trump orange and bad.
Moran, from all of us at ABC News, thank you for watching, and good night.
Yeah. This fucking guy sitting out there talking about how America bad, Trump dictator. This dude would be in jail in Russia. Holy shit. Oh, Lord. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I'm glad we watched this. This was a absolute dumpster fire. I can't believe Trump agreed to do this interview, to be honest. Like, he's the president. I get that he wants to be transparent, and I appreciate that he wants to be transparent, but he sits down with, like, professional retards for this. It's unbelievable. Like, another scam media situation, I guess. You don't hate them enough. Definitely subscribe for future insanity, and hit that join button. It is new join button below to support your boy. Anyway, I will keep seizing more power. The more you subscribe, I will become an authoritarian YouTube channel. We make the content we want. Democracy means nothing. See you with the next one, gamers. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.